Tamara is live from the March on Washington. Let's bring her in.
Peace, peace, peace. How are you? I actually
I'm
just got back
well.
home from everything. It got a little chaotic down there. So yeah, I actually just got back home for everything so I can get a
Okay.
little bit more in a more intimate space for this conversation.
Okay, well, awesome. So, I mean, I guess that was one of my first questions. Like, what is going on down there? What is the, overall, sense in the air? And what have some of the call to actions been?
Really, if I could just tell my truth, it has really been it was a morning really where I would say it was chaos because of the COVID situation. So a lot of people that thought they could get in because they registered, they were getting a little back and forth. People who didn't register, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to come home, because it was just a lot of people, and then also with everything, dealing with the COVID, that was one of the biggest issues this morning that I seen that I was really having a problem and an issue with.
Wow, no, that's definitely scary. It's like, we are still living in a pandemic, and COVID
And
is
they had to
very
get
real. And
so I was going to say
I'm sorry,
they had to get a permit for the actual march. So this time that had to limit a number of people. So with that being said, the number of people was not necessarily, I would say going as planned, and they were actually testing people, as far as the head checks, I would say.
Oh, wow.
And that also was, some people didn't want to do that. Some people did want to do that. So it was just different chaos in a way that I never experienced, because this whole COVID thing is new. So I don't want to make about that, but that was the experience overall. The new experience for me.
That's very valid. Protest in a time of pandemic.
Yeah.
It's a whole new hurdle.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Revive Radio. Where did this idea come from, and what can people really expect?
Awesome. Thank you. So Revive is something that actually started in the city of Philadelphia. I am originally from Washington, D.C., born and raised. But when I had the opportunity when I graduated from college, I had the opportunity of receiving an internship at 900 AM WRD, which is the only Black-owned radio station in the city of Philadelphia. And I interned there, and my mentor at the time, he really just gave a lot to me in a space where I was, just wide open like a sponge, because I was ready to soak up a lot of the information. And I really just fell in love with radio. But the crazy part is I actually received the internship because of my degree, which is business marketing. So I went there to actually help them on their social platforms, their social media platforms. And one day he had a question and he wanted a millennial perspective. So he told us to sit down at the mic. And from that day, I never got back, back up from the mic. I've been literally in love with radio since that day. So that's really how it got started, through an internship. And then me just opening my mouth. And from there, when I knew that, me having a voice and being able to impact people in different ways through mass communications, that really opened a brand new door for me once again. So that's how Revive Radio actually got started in 2017.
2017. And so Proof of Consciousness, that is your name that you go by. So where did that come from? Where did that come from? Yeah.
Everything is so organic. So I was actually just in a conversation, and I was responding to, a statement that was already made. And a gentleman in the crowd, he just really was shouting out that that's proof of consciousness, really stating that, what I was talking about is proof that I'm aware of what's going on. So when he said that, I was like, yeah, that is me. Like, I am proof of consciousness. So I just ran with that. So then I just, condensed it a little bit, because running around saying proof of consciousness was a lot. So I was like P.O.C. And then everyone just loved that. So I just stuck with it. So proof of consciousness, P.O.C., that is me. And it just so happened that P.O.C. also, people of color, and that's all what I'm about. You know what I mean? Putting a space and a platform in a place where you don't really get our stories told and heard by us.
Absolutely. It's also point of contact, and that is you disseminating communication, information.
Exactly.
And so are there any programs that you are really excited to bring to us on the radio? Anything in the works?
Oh, yes, always. Well, right now I just got in partnership with NPR up in Philadelphia, WHYY. And I am doing a new segment for them where we are going around asking different community members, are they mad or not? There's a lot of issues, that is happening right now that people are mad about it. But then you have you know, a lot of people that's 50-50. They're like, you know what, this one I'm not really mad about, you know, and they will explain themselves. So we have done different topics such as police brutality. We have different topics such as United States Postal Service, you know, because in Pennsylvania, this is the first year that we are actually able to vote by mail. This is the first year that a vote by mail ballot has been officially statewide, something that's been approved. So that's why, you know, and especially during a pandemic, this is something that we really need. And with a lot of the postal service things closing down, it's really affecting us in the city of Philadelphia, where it's about 80% African American. So then also we did another topic on trash. During the pandemic, the city of Philadelphia really got hit by the trash because they just couldn't afford it. They could not afford to pay their essential workers to do what they needed to do during the COVID time, as far as picking up the trash for the entire city. So a lot of the city community members were very upset, you know, marching on behalf of that. There were, protests on behalf of trash and things like that. So we wanted to know what they wanted, you know, what could we do to help? So it actually birthed a lot of different recycling organizations, as well as trash and recycling organizations as well. Sorry.
No. I mean, you know, it's very interesting because, like, you know, you just kind of just said, oh, you know, casually I'm working with NPR, but it's like actually a very historic thing for you to be
Oh,
working
yes.
with NPR. And these questions that you're asking and the method that the show is, you know, mad or not, it's very provocative. And so how did that come to be? You know, this is, again, I want to tout, it's still Black Business Month. And so how do you, a young woman starting her radio business, you know, this is like, and now you're working with NPR?
Once again, everything was just super organic. Just me being me. And this time I had a lot of creative moments during this pandemic, I would say, in quarantine season. So I started doing like little teeny docu-series. And as I was doing docu-series, it just grew in the city where you would hear a little bit of buzz about it. And one of the producers who actually works for them in their community development section of the organization actually reached out to me. And from there, it just, how can we connect? How can we get this on a larger scale? And I was ready at that moment. So my first one dropped July 18th. So I just recently started doing them.
Oh my god. And that, like, so congratulations. Like that is a really big deal. Okay. I can't stress that enough.
So
So
if I can put some icing on the cake to really show you how big of a deal it was for me, on August 5th, I made the youngest African American woman to ever be regularly scheduled on NPR PBS.
yes. Yes. Yes, HBCU graduate.
So that was definitely a big deal for me, especially coming out of a time where I didn't know what it was going to be like for media, you know, what it was going to be like for radio, because we're on the go, we're on site, we're, you know, hands on every day, all day. So to really shift to an entire digital content, an entire digital world, you know, where people will, you know, have the attention span of that fast is really something that I was just excited to see, you know, that me actually getting into my creative bag came something so beautiful. Yeah.
And I love that they were so open to working with you, and you don't feel like you had to compromise any of your ideals to bring this to a larger market.
Yes. But that's the blessing, because the producer that reached out to me, he actually recently just got hired because they wanted to open up a more diverse conversation. You know what I mean? Because I'm not sure if you know the viewership. The viewership is very elderly and white, and they wanted to open up the diverse conversation and make people want to engage more and have questions and drop comments. And that's what they were missing, you know, the engagement part. And asking questions like, are you mad or not, was really something that made people even want to engage. Because like, no, I'm not mad. Yes, I'm mad, you know, so that's what they were looking for. So the producer that reached out to me, Christopher Norris, that's his name. Shout out to him. He just recently got hired to actually open up the space and diversify the space. And I was one of the first people that he reached out to do that.
Excellent. And so where can people, how do people tune in?
You will literally go to the website, WHYY/ well, it's a lot. I can send you the link, but it's WHYY. But if you want to just type in my name, just type in Tamara Russell, and all of my audio will be right there. But if you want to go directly to my page, I would have to send the slashes and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely going to include that when we do kind of like the short videos of this session. So we'll just send that over to us because we definitely want to support you. This is a great program. And, you know, thank you for being with us today.
I appreciate you.
Yes,
I appreciate you. I wanted to definitely make sure I shout out Kiana with Congress Heights Ocean Cultural Center, really connecting us together and making this happen. So I definitely want to make sure I mention her. And thank you as well. I appreciate you in Lafayette.
You are welcome. All right, you all.